in a quiet neighborhood in the United Kingdom, where red brick houses stood in neat rows and streetlights glowed softly at night. There lived a woman named Aisha. From the outside, her life looked perfect. Her husband, Fahad, was a well-known bodybuilder. He trained at a popular gym, competed in regional competitions across Europe, and had thousands of followers on social media. His body was powerful, sculpted from years of lifting heavy iron. People admired him. Young men wanted to be like him. Women complimented his discipline and dedication, and Aisha, standing beside him in photos, looked like a lucky wife. But photographs do not tell the truth. The beginning. When Aisha first met Fahad, she felt safe around him. He was tall, strong, and confident. He spoke about goals, success, and building a future together. He said he would protect her from the world. In the early months of marriage, he was kind. He brought flowers. He took her to restaurants in London. He introduced her proudly to his friends. "This is my wife," he would say with a smile. "She's everything to me." Aisha believed him. She moved into his house with hope in her heart. She imagined laughter, children, and a peaceful life. But slowly something began to change. Control disguised as love. It started with small comments. "Why are you wearing that dress?" "It's too tight." "Why did you talk to that man at the shop?" "You don't need friends. I am enough for you." At first, Aisha thought he was being protective. She told herself it was love. Maybe he was just jealous because he cared. But his tone grew sharper. He checked her phone. He asked where she was every hour. He complained if dinner was late. If the house was not perfectly clean, he would sigh loudly and shake his head. "You don't understand how hard I work," he would say. "The least you can do is keep things right at home." Aisha began to feel nervous around him. She tried harder, cooked better meals, cleaned more carefully, spoke less. Still, it was never enough. The first time. One evening, Fahad returned home angry after losing a competition. He threw his gym bag across the room. "They cheated," he shouted. "I deserved to win." Aisha tried to calm him. "It's okay. Next time." Before she could finish, he pushed her. It was not a punch, not a slap, just a push, but it was enough. She stumbled back and hit the wall. The room became silent. Fahad looked shocked at what he had done. "I didn't mean it," he said quickly. "You made me angry." "You should not argue when I'm upset." He hugged her tightly, too tightly. "I love you," he whispered. Aisha nodded, though tears were running down her face. That night, she told herself it was a mistake. The cycle. But it was not a mistake. It was the beginning. The pushes became slaps. The slaps became punches. Fahad's strength, the same strength that lifted heavy weights in the gym, now terrified her. He never hit her where people could see easily. He was careful, arms, legs, back. And afterward, he always apologized. He brought gifts, cooked dinner, cried, promised. "I swear on everything, it will never happen again." Aisha wanted to believe him. She needed to believe him, because if she didn't, then what was her life? Isolation. Slowly, she stopped calling her friends. She avoided visiting neighbors. She wore long sleeves even in summer. When her mother called from overseas, Aisha smiled through the phone and said, "Everything is good. Don't worry." She was ashamed. How could the wife of such a strong, admired man be so weak? But the truth was, she was not weak. She was trapped. Words that hurt more than fists. The physical pain was terrible, but the words were worse. "You're useless. You're lucky I married you. No one else would want you. You're nothing without me." These sentences cut deeper than bruises. Over time, Aisha started believing them. She stopped looking in the mirror. She stopped dreaming. She stopped laughing. She lived carefully, like someone walking through a room full of broken glass. Pregnancy. One day she discovered she was pregnant. When she saw the positive test, her hands trembled. Part of her felt joy. Maybe a baby would change him. Maybe fatherhood would soften his heart. When she told Fahad, he seemed happy at first. He lifted her in his arms and smiled. "I'll be the best father," he said. For a few weeks, things were calm, but stress returned. Fahad became suspicious. "Are you sure it's mine?" he asked one night. The words felt like poison. "How can you say that?" Aisha cried. His face hardened. "Don't raise your voice at me." The night everything broke. It was winter. Cold rain hit the windows. Aisha was 8 months pregnant. Fahad came home furious. He had argued with someone at the gym. Dinner was not ready. "You do nothing all day," he shouted. I'm tired, she said softly. The baby... He slapped her. Hard. She fell sideways, hitting the table. Pain exploded through her body. She held her stomach in fear. Please, she whispered. But he was not listening. He kicked a chair, cursed loudly, and stormed out of the house. Aisha lay on the floor, shaking. Something felt wrong. With trembling fingers, she reached for her phone and called emergency services. The hospital. The hospital lights were bright and cold. Doctors rushed around her. Thankfully, the baby's heartbeat was still strong. But the nurse noticed the bruises. Did someone hurt you? The nurse asked gently. Aisha stared at the ceiling. She had stayed silent for years. But suddenly she thought of her unborn child. If she returned home, what would happen next time? Would her child grow up hearing screams? Would her child think violence was normal? Tears rolled down her face. Yes, she whispered. Yes, he hurt me. Those words changed everything, breaking the silence. A social worker visited her the next morning. Aisha told the whole story. Every slap, every insult, every night of fear. The police were informed. Fahad was arrested. He shouted that she was lying, that she was crazy, that she was destroying his life. But for the first time, Aisha did not feel afraid of his voice. She felt tired and free, a shelter, not a prison. After leaving the hospital, Aisha moved into a women's shelter. The room was small. The bed was simple, but there were no screams, no heavy footsteps, no doors slamming. There was peace. A few weeks later, she gave birth to a baby girl. She named her Noor, meaning light. When Aisha held Noor in her arms, she cried. Not from sadness, from strength. I will protect you, she whispered. I will not let you grow up in fear. The court. The case went to court. Evidence was shown. Medical reports, photographs, messages. Fahad's reputation began to crumble. Sponsors withdrew support. The gym suspended him. In court, he avoided her eyes. The judge listened carefully. When the sentence was announced, restraining order in prison. Time. Aisha felt something lift from her chest. This was not revenge. It was justice. Healing. Healing was not easy. Loud noises still made her jump. Nightmares woke her up. Sometimes she doubted herself. But she attended therapy sessions. She met other women who had survived similar stories. She learned that abuse is not love. Control is not protection. Fear is not respect. Slowly, her confidence returned. She found a job at a community center that supported victims of domestic violence. She spoke to women who sat in chairs just like she once had. You are not weak, she told them. You are stronger than you think. Years later, Noor grew into a cheerful little girl. She loved drawing and running in the park. Their small flat was filled with laughter. One afternoon, Noor looked up at her mother and asked, Mom, are you brave? Aisha smiled. I didn't feel brave, she said softly. I just decided I deserved better. And that was the truth. Strength is not about muscles. It is not about how much weight you can lift. Real strength is choosing to walk away from pain. Real strength is breaking silence. Real strength is protecting your child. Behind many closed doors, there are stories like Aisha's. Homes that look peaceful from outside may hide storms within. But storms do not last forever. Sometimes the smallest voice, whispering enough, can change everything. And when that voice becomes action, darkness begins to fade. Aisha once believed she was trapped. Now she knows she was powerful all along. Because the day she spoke the truth was the day she became free.